So we're here to talk about the Dark TBR. This is a free digital board game inspired, of course, by Stephen King's The Dark Tower. You roll your dice, you walk a path through the desert and to the Dark Tower, and along the way, you'll land on spaces that will give you different prompts for what you should be reading next. So by the end, you'll have built a TBR reading list for somewhere between 6 and 18 books, depending on the difficulty level you choose. And you'll have a good curated list of books to read for the month rather than just staring at your bookshelf in despair and trying to figure out what to read next. So let's get into it.
Joe's probably reading.
So before we actually do a walkthrough of the game, I wanted to show you what each of the tiles are so you know what to expect. And this also allows me to show you the artwork on these because it's pretty great. And when it's shrunk down to tile size, it's hard to see. And we'll start with the icon. It's going to be over here. You'll notice that it looks like a tower, right? Oh, right. Yeah, that's the Dark Tower. It's entirely made of books. Pretty cool, right? So the board itself is made up of 85 spaces across 4 acts. And the most common space that you're going to land on is called the palaver tile. 33 of the 85 spaces are palaver tiles. And when you land on one, you draw a card, and it's a theme prompt to add a book. Every card in this game is going to have a feel of something in the Dark Tower series. One example of this is the Gunslinger's Burden. There's text on the top that's, I'm calling the flavor, for lack of a better term. It says, "The man in black fled across the desert and the gunslinger followed." Sounds like the book, right? And the prompt is, pick a book that you've been chasing but never caught. The one that eludes you. You know what it is. Or you might draw 19. Count the 19th book on your shelf. That one. Do you kin it? Or Roland's ka-tet. Pick a book about friendship, found family, or bonds forged through hardship. There are 80 palaver cards total, all steeped in Dark Tower lore, and they cover anything from coming-of-age stories to books with maps in the front. There are also Todash tiles. About 9 spaces on the board are Todash, and these are dark challenge prompts. They push you outside your comfort zone. For example, Dandelo's Feast. Dandelo fed on emotions. He preferred laughter, but tears would do. The prompt, pick a book that will make you cry. Feed the psychic vampire. Or Mordred's Hunger. The spider child was born hungry. It never stopped. Pick a book over 500 pages. Feed the hunger. There are 40 Todash cards total, and they'll have you picking a banned book, nonfiction, books in translation, genres you actively avoid, things that might make you a little uncomfortable. Ka-tiles are fate cards. 11 spaces on the board. You draw one and something happens to you. It might be good, it might be bad. The Ka deck has 40 cards and 6 different effects. You might get a bonus roll. You might need to add 2 books at once. You could be forced to swap books or have one removed entirely. Some cards move you forward, some move you back. Ka is a wheel. Its one purpose is to turn. So door tiles give you a choice of 2 paths. And again, this is, of course, inspired by the 3 doors on the beach and the drawing of the 3. There are 8 door spaces and 40 cards in the deck. For example, the prisoner's door. You have 2 choices, the prisoner or the key. If you take the prisoner route, you'll be given a prompt like, add a book you feel obligated to read. If you pick the key route, you might be allowed to remove an obligation book from the list. Free yourself. So you just delete a book from your list. Every door card works like this. 2 paths, 2 different choices, 2 different effects. Some let you add, some let you remove, some let you swap. The speaking ring tiles are very rare. There's only 4 on the board. When you land on one, you choose a book from your list to lock. A lock book can never be removed. So no matter what happens, and we'll see where this is really handy later, no matter what happens, you can't remove that book from the list. The Charyu tree. This one's mean. Very rare. Only 3 on the board. And they don't appear until Act 2. The Charyu tree demands a sacrifice. A random book from your list will be sacrificed and will be removed from your list. So if you haven't protected a book you were really hoping to read, this might be your chance to just, sorry, call it fate. It's gone. Way stations are simply rest stops. There's 6 of them on the board. There's no encounter, just a chance to take a breather. And then the transition tiles are gates between acts. And at the very end, the Dark Tower tile. That's your destination. And it'll give you one more chance to pick a book. All right, so this is the game. Before we start, I'm going to give you a quick tour of what we can find here. At the top here is the difficulty level. And all that really does is targets a certain number of books. So ka-tet is 6 to 10 books, Gunslinger 8 to 14, and Tower 12 to 18 books. I'm going to aim for 8 to 14, and that gives me kind of a good range. I usually max out about 6 books, to be honest, so I could go with ka-tet, but this gives me something to aim for. That kind of stretches me. Down at the bottom, I'll work from right to left here. In the settings screen, you'll be able to pick if you want to use AI in the game, you can, but you do have to bring your own key. So you can pick your service, you can pick your model, and you can enter your API key, which you can get from your service. The help icon brings you, of course, to the help page, which is a brief overview of the tiles, and that's what we just went through, and how to play the game. Oh, I guess one more thing to point out here. You can browse the prompts here, so you can actually look through and preview what the different prompts are, which I think is pretty cool. Back to the title screen. Okay, and then we can look at past journeys. And that'll show you games that you've played in the past. And by the way, you can rename these. So I can call this test run. And there you can actually go in and see what books were selected. Also worth mentioning, down at the bottom here, you'll see this plus sign for creating a list. Because this game and the other games I play are in active development, every once in a while something might happen that wipes out your data. So I encourage you to do 2 things. One is when you're in viewing your list, you can export it here. And I encourage you to do that and save it before you're installing a new version of this app. But also you should, and you'll see this at the end, copy and paste your list somewhere else, like into your notes, into your favorite notes app. And then what you can do is you can actually come in and recreate the list should it get deleted. Or maybe you've built a list some other way and you want to bring it into the game, you can do that too. Back to the title. All right, now we'll go ahead and give it a spin. I'm going to do this in near real time because I want you to see how long the game takes. I'll speed up some areas where I'm looking for books or trying to think about books. But basically the gameplay I'm going to leave intact. So if you want to go faster than what the game actually goes, feel free to adjust those settings in YouTube. But, average run through is probably going to take you 10 minutes, plus or minus, depending on, how long it takes you to find books. Let's go. So on here, up in the corner, you'll see the narrator. And that is kind of got a vibe that sounds a whole lot like Roland in the Dark Tower series. I'm not going to read them here, but I encourage you to read it. It's a lot of fun. Here at the bottom or in the middle is the reading list, and that's where your actual TBR will show up as you build it. And of course, you roll the dice by clicking it. And there's a question mark here just because we don't know what the roll is yet, right? So roll the die. And we get our first prompt. Roland's jawbone. He gnawed the jawbone of a man he killed. Dry meat, desert sustenance. Pick a survival story. A book about enduring when everything is stripped away. So for our demo here, every one of my books is going to be the Stephen King book, just because. And I'll say The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. And roll. And we landed on a Todash space, Insomnia's Edge. Ralph Roberts stopped sleeping. Then he started seeing the auras. Pick a book that you would read at 3 a.m. when sleep won't come. This is a very obvious one. Insomnia. Also by Stephen King. And we will roll again. And a palaver space. As I mentioned, the palaver spaces are the most common spaces in the board. This is the Horn of Eld. This time, perhaps you had brought the horn. Pick a book about second chances or doing things differently. So I can't think of a Stephen King book that this applies to off the top of my head. This is where I could use AI. And because I'm looking for specifically from an author, I'm going to say pick a Stephen King book. And it's going to go out, and it's going to hit Claude in my case. And of course, we got a network error. And we wait as that builds up. And yeah, I see one that's a really obvious choice at this point. So it'll give you the options that it came up with. And if you read the descriptions, these are descriptions that sound a whole lot like Roland as well. And I'm going to pick 11/22/63 for that one. Great book. And we'll roll again. Another one. Ka-mai. The quickening of Ka, the world lurches forward. Move forward 2 extra spaces. Ka hurries you along. And another palaver space. Pick a book about grief, mourning, or learning to let go. I'm going to use AI again. One thing I like about using AI for these is it gives me an excuse to buy more books. Some good choices. Bag of Bones, maybe? Yeah, let's do Bag of Bones. And we roll again. Another Todash. I'm getting a lot of low rolls this game. That's going to lead to a lot of books. Pick a book from a subgenre that you've never explored. Cozy mysteries, solar punk, wuxia, whatever is alien to you. That one's tough. So I'll be editing the video right here. But let's see. I'm going to cheat a little bit on this one because I want to make all these books Stephen King books. And I'll say Doomickey. It's a little different than some of his other books. And roll again. And of course, another one. But this is good, the speaking ring. So this show allows me to lock a book, as I mentioned before. I definitely want to read 11/22/63, so I'll leave that there. And roll again. And we land on a way station, which is kind of a no-op. We don't do anything there, but roll again. And away we go to the wastelands. Appreciate the art. It's beautiful. All right, well, now we're up here. Another speaking ring, and I definitely want to continue to read Insomnia. Good book. Another roll. Ka-tet. One for many, bound by Ka. Your ka-tet grows. Add 2 books. Ones that feel destined for you. All right, I'm going to pick The Wastelands by Stephen King, and the level we're on. And the drawing of the 3. And another 6. Swap a book. Give something a second chance, or swap for a second chance. All right. We're going to get rid of Doomickey, and we're going to add, why not, Dark Half. And roll again. And of course. So I landed on the space, and the Sharyu tree went ahead and sacrificed a book for me. And fortunately, it didn't sacrifice the ones that were locked. It sacrificed The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, which is my least favorite Stephen King book, so that works out well. Roll again. Another 6. And on to The Wizard and Glass. And a 5. So the doors are cool. The road goes ever on and on. 2 paths, choose one. So I have journey or home. Journey sounds good. And add a book about a quest, a journey, or a road trip. I'm going to change up my prompt again here to say Stephen King book about a quest, journey, or road trip. The stand seems like an obvious one there, doesn't it? All right, I'll roll again. Speaking circle. Let's save the stand. Make sure we read that. And we read again. Pick a book with a truly terrifying villain. This is going to seem weird, but needful things. Final roll of this level. Isn't that gorgeous? Act 4, The Dark Tower. All right. Maybe we'll get through this one quickly. Another door. Cool. Beyond the door, the fields of roses. Beyond the roses, the tower. 2 paths, choose one. The rose or the trade? Let's go with the rose. Which book would you like to swap out? Yeeks. Bag of bones. Swap an unlocked book for one you consider a personal masterpiece. I'm going to go with The Dark Tower. If I can spell. There we go. And we roll again. And another Charyu tree. Drawing a 3 was sacrificed. And that was one I wanted to stay on there. So that's a bummer. Blaine was mad. Centuries alone. We'll do that. Pick a book with an unreliable narrator or character losing their grip on reality. I'm going to go to the AI again for this one. Ooh, some good ones. I'm going to go with Misery. Awesome book. Roll. Pick the last book in a completed series. Read it to reach the end. Well, so I'm going to go with the 3rd book of the Mr. Mercedes series, End of Watch. Kind of obscure one there. And hopefully we'll make it to the Dark Tower this time. And the Dark Tower space, ka-tet must be reshaped from what comes next. It gave me a door. That's interesting. Do reshape or preserve? Reshape. Let's reshape. Which book would they like to swap out? Let's get rid of End of Watch. Swap a book for a new companion. So this could be anything. The Gunslinger. And that is the game. So it gives us a list of the books that we need to read this month. And you'll notice it's broken down. The Gunslinger's Path, the Wastelands, Wizard and Glass, and the Dark Tower. Those are the 4 levels we went through. The way on this game I would generally do this is say that anything that's in these first 2 levels are ones I absolutely have to read. In this one, it's kind of nice to have. Maybe I'll make it, maybe I won't. Down here are absolute stretch goals. I don't count on making them at all, but great if I do. So then what I can do here is I can copy this as text or markdown, depending on what kind of notes editor you're using. I encourage you to do that. That way you've got a copy outside the game that you can refer to without actually coming into the game. But when you do play this game, you can go to past journeys and you can always find the last one you did. So call this one walkthrough. And if I click through to that, you notice it's the same list that we just had. And when you're in here, you can now, as you read your books, you can mark them as read, give them a rating, and do that for each one. Here's where things might get a little controversial. Let's say that I've read to here and I've started the stand. And it's now March. So this is my list for March. April 1st comes. What do? Do I continue reading the rest of my books? No. All these books get put back on my shelf and back in rotation for the next time around. But what happens if I'm halfway through the stand? Do I finish it? Nope. DNF'd. Now, there's nothing saying I can't come back to that later. But wherever I am at the beginning of the next month, that's where I cut it off. And I have to start reading the next month. So in, I don't know, a week or 2, I'll build my April list. And when April 1st comes, wherever I am, that's where I stop. While we're on this page, you'll notice you can copy this. So I can copy this and paste it into my notes app from here. I can edit this list. So I can go in and make any changes I need to. And if you change anything in here, it's going to ask you why. It's going to ask you why you changed it. But you can also, I think, you can reorder these too. It's like here, it makes a lot more sense to read the Gunslinger before the Dark Tower, right? Or before the Wastelands. So you can reorder the books if you want to and save those changes. And I just inadvertently hit the export button too. So the export will allow you to export your current list as a JSON file that can be imported into this game or any of the rest of my TBR games. So that's the Dark TBR. Let me know what you thought. And if there's any games you'd like to see made, any series or books that you'd like a TBR game based on, let me know and I'll see if I can put it together for you. And these will always be available for free. And the website is really easy to remember, tbr.games. Talk to you soon.